So, of course, it is a pleasure to be joined by MMA UK legend Brad Pickett. Brad, as I mentioned to you a minute before recording, I'm going to dive straight into it because there's a lot to get to. You are a very busy man at the
No,
moment.
always.
Of course, we're going to get to Oktagon and PFL, which you've got some big stuff coming up with soon. But of course, I should briefly talk to you about something that happened last weekend. I think the fighter that most people associate with yourself and with GB top team, Nathaniel Wood, had an incredibly
Yes.
frustrating fight out in Abu Dhabi. It was frustrating just for us fans to watch from the opposite side of a TV screen. I can't imagine how frustrating it was for Nathaniel himself and you guys as his close team. I know that he posted to say that an appeal is being launched and stuff like that. What was your reaction in the kind of immediate aftermath, and what are the next few steps, I guess, going from here?
To be honest, the media, straight after this, I mean, like for me, the during the contest, the fouls wasn't that blatant, if that makes sense. There's been a couple of groin strikes. Okay, I get it. It didn't seem that much, but when I watched the fight back,
Mm.
and I'm like, wow, actually, no, this is like the holding the fence, especially at the end when you're holding the gloves and you're stopping you're stopping yourself from getting finished because you're getting, your head's getting used like a basketball, and you're holding it. So when I like, well, for me, was the accumulation of all that. I'm like, man, it's pretty bad. So like, yeah, actually annoyed me way more when I watched the fight back than it did on the night. On the night, to be honest, also as well when I look at it as a coach, sometimes you just get those nights you're just not firing. And for me, Nathaniel beats that guy 9 times out of 10, but it just wasn't his night for some reason. I don't know if it was the multiple fouls or that just played in his head. He just wasn't firing. It took him way too long to get into the fight. And when when he got into the fight, it was a bit too late for me. He would have lost those first 2 rounds, kind of thing. So, but one of those times you just kind of sometimes you have to chalk it off as a loss and move forward. Don't dwell on the past. We have contested it to see what happens, but even if they do somehow take a point off him, it would have been a draw, right? So yeah, so it's one of those ones where sometimes you just got no point crying over spilled milk. You just got to dust yourself down and go again. He's healthy. He just had some fantastic news of becoming a father. So for me, put your energy and focus on that and move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I imagine as a coach, it must be difficult to not like you said when you see those clips. It must be difficult to not get frustrated on behalf of Nathaniel, but also it's your job to make sure he wins the fight, regardless of what happens in
Yeah,
regards to fouls and officiating. It must be difficult
yeah.
though, because you've been with him for such a long time to take that kind of step back and not be too emotional and be like, we'll work on the next fight rather than dwelling too much on that.
Yeah, for me, I have a very strong connection with Nathaniel. I've been with Nathaniel for many, many years. And I think it's a good thing as well. I actually got emotionally invested in his fights. But for me, as a person, I never dwell on the past. I'm one of those people, you know, I think is one thing I always do. I say I don't waste my time in the future dwelling on the past because I'm not living my future. So I'd rather concentrate and look forward. And that's why that's what I always like to say to Nathaniel, look, it is now. Don't put that behind, and we just got to move forward. Learn from any little mistakes we made. We've done a couple of things today, a couple of things we could have done, little tricks here and there. Could have helped them out a little bit more. But then, I say you learn from those experiences and move on. But you can't learn. You can't learn much from getting kicked in the nuts. That's just one of those things, right? You just get blasted. Yeah, it's just one of those things.
Yeah. I couldn't have phrased it better
You,
myself.
you don't do nut shot training. Let's have a spy round. Get yourself kicked in the nuts, and then try and come back. What?
Right. We can move past the frustrating times out in Abu Dhabi to talk about some upcoming fights. first we'll talk about Oktagon because that is an event that you have been linked with throughout the build up to it through the Oktagon Challenge series, where of course you've got Hassan fighting earlier on in the night, but then of course the finals of that series with George Staines taking on Dennis Frimpong.
Yeah.
Talk to
Also
me
have
about.
Alex Lahore. Also have Alex Lahore from that my gym is fighting on that card as well.
Of course, yeah. I mean, Alex has been the guy representing your gym over in Oktagon for a
Yeah,
while now. And then,
yeah.
so to have these other guys come through and then for you to be a part of it, like, how has that been coaching people? Not like, obviously, you have tons of experience doing that, but coaching them through a series like that where they're in the house with other guys. And I spoke to Aaron, who was on the show the other day. And the thing that I said to him was like, it's crazy because the majority of the people on the show hadn't even had a pro fight yet, and you're suddenly on a reality show. Like
Yeah.
the escalation is immediate. Like, how was that coaching those guys through that?
It was good. I mean, like for me, it's just Oktagon. Yeah, again, they're so good. I mean, create a great platform for young, inspiring athletes to just propel their careers. You know, it's an amazing thing. And for me, obviously, it's very much like the Ultimate Fighter series that everyone knows about. And as a coach, there's one time I nearly done one of those. It was going to be me and Dominic Cruz coaching against each other. But on the one, do you remember the one where it was the flyweights, and now
Yes.
and the winner of the flyweights got to fight Mighty Mouse.
Damn. Right. Okay.
Right. So the angle of that was going to be at the time it was me and Dominic Cruz, the only two people to beat Mighty Mouse, and those two were gonna, yeah, and then we were. I was gonna coach one team, and it's basically to beat Mighty Mouse kind of thing. I mean, it never happened, never came to fruition, but I thought it was a good idea. And I've always wanted. I'd been so cool to do that, and that's why I jumped at this chance for Octagon, and I loved it. You know, it was good. Challenging at times, you know, being cooped up with people. Thank God, actually, I wasn't in the fighter's house because man, it's like that's what makes good TV, right? Because like, like you people just like watching Big Brother, right?
Yeah.
People all in a house. People's what millions of people watch Big Brother, but now you got all these Big Brother people who are gonna eventually punch each other in the face and fight each other. This makes it so much better. This makes it for great TV.
Yeah. I was saying as well the other day, it's played out again. You have, like you said, that you have that Big Brother drama. I don't know if it could have played out any better than having it be George and Dennis in the finals because you couldn't find two more different guys, like both
No,
really skilled guys, but put them in a house together and you realize how different they are as human beings.
sure,
But
chalk and cheese. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I
so
mean,
to have
like,
them in the final,
but that's also helps with shows like this because you wouldn't know about these people really, other than a show like this, to know how they are inside and outside the cage. So I mean, like it shows that this was fascinating about the sport. It's like you you can come from all different routes of life and find a path with the same goal. You know, like they all want to be Octagon champions. They all want to be professional fighters, but they all come from complete different backgrounds. Up. So this is where people like yourself at home and me also can relate to someone in a good way or bad way. You could be like, man, I hate Frimpong. I want to see him get knocked out. Or you'd be like, oh, I understand where Frimpong's coming from. I've been from that sort of, bring it, yeah, and you just kind of relate. So like, it just what it does is it always with a show like this. For me, it's like if you went to a boxing event or MMA event and you didn't know no one on the card, you'd be like, "Oh, yeah, it's a cool fight. Oh, do you want to get some food? Let's get me." Yeah, but when you have some emotional investment with someone, right? They either you know them personally, as in your mates, or they're your training partner, or you've been watching them on TV and you have that emotional investment. You're like, whoa, no, I'm not going to the toilet. I can't miss this fight. Yeah, yeah. You got like you emotionally invested, and that's what makes for good TV.
yeah, I think as well it's a huge benefit for the guys that not only have come through the series but also the other guys on this card. You mentioned Alex
Yeah,
Lahore, but MMA fans that have been watching the UK and European scene will know Alex Lahore anyway. But for
Yeah,
people who might have been drawn in through the challenge series and stuff like that, it translates to them as well because it's like it's
of
new
course.
eyeballs that they might not have
But
seen him, and now they will, and now they'll follow him.
same thing as you go when you have Jake versus Paul, two
Yeah,
comedians kind of fighting each other. That's going to bring a different audience, and they could be like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that fight could absolutely suck. But then they see Alex Hall do some spinning back heel kick and go, man, that was amazing. I like that guy. And that's what I mean, exactly that. So more eyes on the show benefits everyone. You know?
yeah, it should be a great event. I'm excited to see how everything goes down. And then of course we've got the PFL finals in Dublin, another big event for you guys over at GB Top Team. We spoke briefly then with the Oktagon stuff about different routes into MMA and stuff like that. And you've got two guys on this card in Simeon and Dom who have both made their way to the top of the UK scene, but through completely different ways, right? Like
Yeah.
Dom's path has been very, I don't want to say difficult, but hard to predict, I would say.
Yeah.
Whereas
Some
Simeon, it
ups and
felt like,
downs.
yeah. Whereas Simeon, it felt like as soon as the PFL signed him, it was like, okay, like it's written on the wall. This guy's going to be
Yeah.
one of their big names in PFL Europe. So to have both of them on the card, a huge moment for yourself, I'm sure, because it's shaping up to be another really good event and exciting to have these guys have huge opportunities with the PFL. I think this event's really exciting, especially for
Exactly
those
that.
two guys.
I think the PFL doing great things as well. It's like, I mean, what I think PFL do really well, they're not, it's like, how do I explain this? It's like, obviously you had the UFC, right? Was the biggest show in the world, and then you have Bellator. Me, it's just the B League of the UFC, right? Because it's the same product,
Mm,
but it's not as good a quality. Where you have PFL, quite technically it's the same product, but it's sold differently. It's sold as a professional fight league, and how it's, yeah, and it's so much. It's different. It's not the UFC. It's a different product altogether. Where you fight in the season, you do this and that, and you have season one winner. Yeah, and that's what like. And then also then you have Octagon, which is more of a reality sort of TV show, creating more TV sort of stars and that sort of stuff. And they're so good at promoting their events. So look, even though all of them are MMA, they're sold differently, which it makes them different products, which I think is very good.
yeah, absolutely. Like, I would imagine that's a huge. I think the PFL will be a huge benefit to. Like, I love it because yeah, I like watching the PFL over in America. Like you said, it's a different product and that's exciting. I love the European one in particular because you get to see these guys throughout the course of the season and see how they progress. So
Yeah,
to have the fighters that you coach like Simeon and stuff like that, it's like you're guaranteed to see them fight a few times a year and you can see their progress throughout the year because it's the same format every time. You can just see him getting better every single time on the way to this
of
final
course.
where I, I can't imagine that if he wins this, he's probably going to be in the regular season next year. And it just feels like
That
having that
100% will be.
structure has pushed him like faster
Yeah.
than he would have got there without that, if that makes sense.
No, of course, he's a very talented human being, and we have a few others. Luke training here as well, both in the same weight class. But it's one of those ones like I think a lot of people don't realize it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel or anything like that. It's like hard work and structure in camp. You don't want to come to the gym thinking, "Whoa, what we doing today?" You'd be like, "Boom, this is what." Yeah, it's structured. That's what we do here. It's like I don't reinvent the wheel. You know, I push people hard work, but you know what you're doing every day. There's structure here. Sometimes also, like for me, I travel quite a bit, right? If I go away, my structure's still there. It's still the classes run the same, and that sort of stuff. Where other gyms, when someone disappears, like say in SBG in Ireland, Conor McGregor has a fight, and what do you call it? Kavanaugh goes to America or something. The gym just goes to pot. You know, so like that doesn't happen. Where I am.
Yeah. Um, very briefly before I let you go, I wanted to get an update on someone who I was expected to be on this Dublin card that I think got announced in full today, on the day of recording. I think one of the most exciting signings to the PFL Europe this year. Your fighter Chanel Dyer. Do you have a
Yeah.
rough update on when we can expect to see Chanel in there? I was hoping she was going to be on this Dublin card, but
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I got to be careful what I say.
yeah, I
I
apologize
don't
for
know
putting
what's
you
been.
in a
Yeah,
tough spot.
I don't know what's been announced or not.
Okay.
But I think they're struggling to get her on this Dublin card because of space on the card.
Yeah.
And she may be loaned to some other show to have a fight in December, which I won't say now where because I don't know if I can. But she still definitely all plans still to fight again next year in the tournament.
Perfect. All right. Sounds good. Excited to see her back this year because I think that she'll be a huge part of the PFL's plans going forward.
Definitely.
So it's exciting stuff. Brad, thank you so much for your time, mate. You are always so giving with your
No problem
time
at
and
all.
so easy to arrange things with, which I know how busy you are. So we really appreciate it. And good
Good.
luck for all
Anytime.
these big events, mate, because
Thank you.
GB
Thank
top
you.
team is not slowing down anytime soon. It is
Now
ridiculous.
look, I'll show you this. This is my wall of fights coming up.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I have a weekend free until next year at the moment.
Well, it's not. It
Busy
could be
man.
worse. Could be worse.
Could be worse, exactly. It could be just
Absolutely.
twiddling my thumbs. All right, perfect. All good.
Absolutely. All right. All the best, Brad. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Cheers.
See you
You
later.
too. Bye bye.